This morning I'll be chatting with Dr. Victor Wheeler. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you very much. And morning Tobago, morning Trinidad and Tobago.
Fantastic. I love how you put Tobago there first.
Yes.
All right, doctor. So I have a few questions in regards to this blood drive. So we identify that it's from the 15th to the 28th. And there are a few questions, burning questions that some people are wondering before they get involved in these things. The first of which is, what is the eligible age range for blood donation?
Right. In Trinidad and Tobago, you're eligible to give blood if you are between the ages of 18 and 65 years.
I see. All right.
In addition to that, you also need to be a healthy adult and also weigh more than 110 pounds.
All right. So weighing more than 110 pounds, healthy adult, 18 years old to 65.
65 years old, correct.
Are there any major risks if, well, I know it's not allowed, but sometimes things are able to slip through the cracks. Are there major risks that people should know about if they were to be, well, a minor, one, and attempt to give blood, or if they are over 65 and attempt to give blood?
Well, what happens is when you present yourself to the blood banks, and either in Trinidad and Tobago, you would be met with a nurse who is responsible for taking the blood. But before she does that, she would usually interview you as part of a screening process.
Okay.
And of course, that screening process is to verify your age, find out your medical history, if you have any medical conditions, for example, diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma. If you're on medication for these conditions, you would not be allowed to give blood.
Oh, I see, I see.
Also, you would have a detailed history about your sexual activities. And this is important because of the risk of you may have HIV, hepatitis, and we are very particular when screening. For example, if you are someone who have multiple partners, or for men who have sex with men, or if you're a sex worker, or if you've been exposed to HIV, hepatitis, any one of those, we would not be taking blood from you.
Right. Because of
so
the risk
you
involved with
would go through the screening process, and at the end of that screening process, the nurse will take a blood test from you to check your blood count. And for the men, we would want your blood count or hemoglobin to be at least 13.5. And for the women, we want it to be at least 12.5. And the reason for this is that we would not take blood from you if you're anemic or your blood count is low.
Right.
Because that could be a challenge for you.
Right, it would place the individual at risk.
Yes, correct. And once the blood is taken, takes about half an hour or so, we would want to keep you in the blood bank for about another additional 15 minutes.
Right.
Just for any recovery. And then you're on your way.
All right. And further to that, how often during the blood drive can a single person give blood?
Well, generally speaking, we would not take blood from someone if they have donated within the past 4 months.
4 months, okay.
So you would only be able to give blood. What our aim really is to build up a bank of voluntary blood donors. In other words, we would want the public, general public who satisfy the criteria to give blood, to try to become voluntary donors, meaning you just come and give blood once or twice a year. It's allowed to actually give blood twice a year.
Okay.
And for Trinidad and Tobago, nationally, the National Blood Transfusion Service collects about 20,000 units every year. But it is actually recommended that our population you should have at least 1 unit donated for every 20 members of the population.
I see.
So for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole, that will work out to about 65,000 units every year, but at the moment, we, as a country, we only collect 20,000.
Wow, so we're really under the mark here.
Yes,
In
yes.
regards to
And
the,
for,
sorry, doctor, in regards to
so,
the blood being kept, is there any risk of, we already, we just learned about how strained it is, being that we really need something like 65,000, but we're at around 20,000 units per year. Is there any risk of blood being not viable anymore due to expiration and things like that? How long does blood really last when you donate?
so a unit of blood that's donated would last about 35 days.
Okay,
And so we try to have that blood used. Now, every unit that is donated, we usually screen that unit of blood for various infective conditions such as HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, syphilis, and one or two other infective conditions. For Tobago in particular, with our population of 50,000, we should really be having about 2,500, we should be collecting about 2,500 units per year,
right.
which translates to about 10 units per day. But currently we collect less than half.
Wow.
So there are periods where in Tobago we will go through periods where the blood bank has very little blood. And the effect of this is that persons who have planned the surgery where blood is needed, sometimes we can't proceed with that surgery because there's insufficient blood in the blood bank in case you bleed.
Right.
And Tobago is, the need for blood is actually increasing. There are a few more accidents on the road. You are aware that, we were the first casualty road accidents. We have one or two more incidents of shootings, which we didn't have before.
Correct.
And in addition to that, you also have medical conditions where one needs blood. We have an ICU where very ill patients are treated, and there's a need for blood. So part of the reason for this blood drive is to build up our blood stocks.
And
But
as
we really want to focus on having people voluntarily coming in and giving blood, rather than the old system whereby someone needs blood and then they have to find someone to donate blood for them.
and hopefully that
We're
person
trying
is
to get away
eligible
from
to do
that sort
so.
of system.
And with that, that's why we need more blood drives like this to ensure that we meet the markers, we meet the benchmarks that we should be at for a nation of our population. And with that, just to underline the information again, that would be from the 15th of January to the 28th. If persons were to be interested in donating blood or to get more information, who can they contact, doctor?
Right, well, there's the hospital number 660-4744. The only place to give blood in Tobago is at the Scarborough Hospital, and that is done between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday to Friday. One thing I'd just like to add quickly is that when a person donates a pint of blood, 3 persons can use from that, or there are various blood products that can be used. So in addition to helping to save 3 persons' lives, there's also a benefit to the donor for giving blood. Because if you give blood regularly, it actually helps to protect against certain form of cancers.
Right.
And interestingly, it helps with reducing obesity
And we will have to
and
find
heart
out much more
disease.
about
So
that in
you're not just giving
further
blood for someone else, you're giving
conversations.
blood to benefit yourself as well.
That's right. And again, so it benefits others, it benefits yourself. And of course, it's a great thing to get involved in. Thank you so much, doctor, for joining us this morning. We now have to take a short break and come right back. Stay with us.